You're listening to Inside Real Estate, your source for all things mortgage and real estate related. The show that brings you all the hottest topics and insights directly from those who know it most. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Inside Real Estate. You've got myself, Paul Apostolakis. You've got Brad Weisgerber, Salvatore Kuzmano. We are the trio of Inside Real Estate. Thank you for those of you that have listened, subscribed, and also left us reviews. We can't thank you enough. If you want to find us, you can go to irepodcast.com. You can go to Facebook.com/irepodcast, or you can go to anywhere that you consume your podcast, any app that you can think of. I think we're on that by now. Guys, how are you all doing today?
Good, sir.
Awesome. Today we've got a really awesome guest. We've got Samantha she's a co-founder of Motus Real Estate here locally. And we're going to talk to her today about how she got into real estate. And then I want to get her feeling for what she's seeing in the market. You know, it feels a little bit, Sal, that things are kind of opening up a little bit. We're not seeing as many multiple offers, et cetera.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, things are kind of, softening to a degree or slowing down. I'm hearing from appraisers they're not as busy. But I think it's kind of that time of year too, you know.
Naturally, this time of year, July, August, school starts, things kind of slow down, but it's kind of a natural. It feels like a natural slowdown, but we'll see what happens going into the fall. I want to bring in Hillary to give us some insight on what she thinks. Hillary, welcome to the show. Samantha Hillary. I know. You have two first names, Samantha.
I know. What happens when you get married? Yep.
Yeah. I have two last names, so. Yeah, it's okay. Sam, welcome to the show. We really appreciate you doing it. Why don't we start with anybody that comes on the show? How did you get into real estate, Sam?
So I come from a background in publication sales. I worked for a yearbook company for 8 years, and I did that all around Michigan. And then I bought a house and met a realtor and thought, this looks like fun. So I went and worked for a local real estate team for 3 years and ran their ISA department. I was an inside sales agent. I knew that I wanted to get my license, but I wasn't done building my family yet. We wanted to have another kid. So I waited until I had my second daughter and got my license. And then I stayed on that team for a while. And then the leader of that team thought I wasn't a good fit anymore, so asked me to exit. So the next morning I had coffee with 3 other people, and Motus was formed.
That's awesome. So you're a co-founder. You guys, how many owners are there?
We had 6. Now there's 4.
There's 4 of you.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you get into real estate. You start doing your own thing. How did you start getting your own business? Let's talk about that.
Well, it was kind of a mixture. I do a lot on social media. I don't have a ton of followers, but what just kind of happened is the people that were following me felt a connection and liked me, what I was putting out. So they started reaching out to me and asked how they could support me. And I had developed some relationships with lenders who were like yourselves, who were really kind and trying to support that effort into this new venture as well. So people kind of found me both ways. I did a little bit of cold calling, but for me, it was like I want to attract the kind of clients that I want to work with. And I found that going on social media does that for me.
Got it. So what was the transition like going from just working in an office to kind of being a leader of a whole group, right? So you have a team now, you moved over to EXP. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right. So talk to us about that transition to EXP and having the team.
Yeah, so moving to EXP was kind of crazy. I'd only ever been, I was a PW previously, and the business model of EXP was really intriguing to me. And I started to have conversations beyond just transactions. I think sometimes as real estate agents, especially as new real estate agents, you're just thinking about buying and selling real estate, which is important. That's the core of my job, is helping my clients do those things. But what I've learned is that there's so many other pillars to my business. I personally can only do so many transactions, without going crazy. Like, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a friend, I'm all of those other things. So I needed to find ways that I could make money when I'm sleeping. I needed to find ways that I could multiply myself, and that's what a team allows me to do. So the move over to EXP was actually pretty seamless. It's a different kind of brokerage. Most brokerages, you have to like go into an actual physical office, and our transition over was great timing. It was right when COVID was hitting, excuse me, and everything's virtual.
Yeah.
A little bit freaky. It's like a Sims world. You have an avatar that actually walks in there. But you can attend classes, you can talk to your broker that way. The state meetings are all there. So it was great for that because everyone else was trying to transition and figure out how to work from home or not be in an office. And that was built for that. So
yeah, we saw that with the XP's stock price during COVID. It kind of blew up.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. When I started, I mean, stocks were $10 a stock, and we joined. They have a program where you can purchase stock with a portion of all of your commissions, and I started doing that. And it's embarrassing, but last Christmas, I just didn't pay attention, right? 5% of all of my commission checks. It's not that much.
Right.
I had a little bit of champagne on New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve last year, and I opened up my ShareWorks account to see what was in there, and I almost fell off the chair. Like, my husband was like, and I said, "Look at this." And he was like, what is it? And I said, well, I've been, taking 5% of everything and putting it there. And he was like, that's actual money? And I said, yeah. It's like, yeah, I look at this. And it was crazy because the stock prices had gone so up so much. And then in February, the stock actually split. So the amount of stock I had was double. So again, like going back to making money while I sleep, and then they give me stock for things. I actually, kind of exciting. I hit Icon Agent yesterday. I just got the notification. So a small percentage of EXP agents, they actually gift back their cap in stock. And so yesterday.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. I'm very excited. So so that was like the goal when I joined EXP was to hit that milestone and make that happen. So the transition was great, but then I also knew I needed leverage. I knew, again, I couldn't be the one showing all the houses. I've got too many things going on and I have a life. I want to have a life. So that's where the team came in. And at first we were just helping each other, but we all got too busy. So we had to go find other agents and other people to support us. And now they're getting super busy. So now we're on the hunt again for some more showing assistants or agents because our newbies, I just talked to one of them yesterday. She's been licensed for 8 months. She has 5 buyer clients and 2 listing clients. I mean,
wow.
8 months being licensed, it's pretty great.
Yeah, if you can offer opportunity for other people, it is obviously really special. Now, one thing that's interesting, now, do you guys have an actual office being that you're in the EXP agents, or do you just do everything virtually?
So we do a lot of stuff virtually, but we as a team have an office in Ferndale, a space at a co-working space that we meet at, and we have desks there. Yeah. But I'm in North Oakland County. We have agents in Detroit, over in Macomb, some along the Woodward corridor. So they're everywhere. And then 2 of our agents are actually doing a lot in Northern Michigan.
Wow.
Like up in Mackinac City, we have some listings for condos, and they've been going on listing appointments on vacation homes as well.
That's so interesting, Sal and Brad. I mean, you guys can chime in, but it's interesting how how you can run a business in today's world and have it so virtual that you can have employees or people on your team kind of all over a state and not have to be so close to each other, right, guys?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I do want to clarify, though, Northern Michigan is not Mackinac City.
Oh, come on, Brad. Brad's from the UP, right, Sam? So
I was born in Traverse City, or I grew up in Traverse City, so I know that Northern Michigan is actually the UP. But for everybody down here, Northern Michigan is Midland.
Northern Michigan is where Brad lives. It's like Flint.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what are some of your goals, Sam, for your team? I mean, for the year?
Yeah. So we would like to grow. Interesting about EXP is we have a local team, which is Motus, but I also run a national team through EXP. So I have an agent in Indiana right now, and I'm talking to agents across the country that are thinking about joining EXP with me. And they'll still be running their own teams and things in other parts of the country, but they'll be part of this collaboration with Motus and everyone there, so we can pool resources. So I'm doing things on Tuesdays once a month. I am doing a tour Tuesday with an agent from Arizona, Kansas City, Charlotte, and Las Vegas. And we do that. And I meet with those people every other week to share ideas, which is something that I think in real estate people aren't doing all the time, especially somebody, I mean, I'll be licensed 3 years in March, and I've done some pretty crazy things. So like goals keep changing quarterly. I redo them. When I got my license a year or almost 3 years ago, my 10-year goal was to get a pool. Well, they finished it in July.
Saw that. That's a really nice pool. Yeah.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Yep. The pool's done. For me personally, I think the next thing is we maybe want to buy an investment property, build our, as a team for Motus. We don't want to do more than 20 agents right now. So we are looking for agents to fill those spots, but they've got to be the right agents. I personally, again, I'd like to do 15 million next year. I'm going to do 12 this year.
There's a call right now.
Sorry, it's not really important. But so those are the main things for me right now. The team, I think we expanding, meeting more people who are interested in collaborating, because we're learning the more that we talk to other agents, there's more than enough real estate to go around. We don't always have to be in competition, but I want to be working with good agents, because there are some agents out there that aren't so good at their job, that are doing unethical things. So bringing good agents into the business and making sure that things are really good for our buyers and sellers.
Yeah, and you said an interesting thing there, that there is enough real estate to go around, in your opinion. I mean, it just seems like everybody's a real estate agent in today's market, and they can't all be successful, right? They just can't. It's just not possible. So what, in today's market, what sets a good agent apart from, let's say, a bad agent?
Well, I think one, how honest they are, how truthful and ethical. I mean, I tell my clients right away when we're on the buy side, I'll tell you to not buy a house. I'll never tell you to buy a house. It's amazing to me how many times I've taken clients out who purchased houses previously, and I'll point something out and they'll say, well, the other person said that that's not a big deal. And I'm like, I'm staring at this driveway with a tree growing out of it. You're going to have to bust the driveway up, re-pour it, and get rid of a tree. How is that not a big deal? Or,
right.
That's, the shingles on the roof, that's not a big deal. I can just get a new roof. Well, that's great if you've got the money, but we're at the top of your budget. You don't have any money. So
the hard truth, giving the hard truth. Sometimes
people really like it when you tell them you don't have any money. They really like that.
No,
but it works really well
in this business, right? Where you have a wide array of different people working in it, right? I think it's easy to have the truth or honesty blurred by a commission check, right?
Yeah. And
people all the time, no, dude, don't worry about it. You can afford it, or no big deal. And people always, and that does last a long time, like you said, right? You talk to someone. I've had a lot of clients come back and do another mortgage with me, but not with their previous agent.
Yeah.
Right. That house sucked, or we had all these bad issues, whatever it was. And I think that, even on our end, it's like, well, dude, you can work with me, but they're giving you a better deal. It's up to you. Right?
I think the difference is being focused on the client as opposed to the paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think a good agent focuses on the client and making sure the client is taken care of fully, as opposed to getting a deal done and getting paid. Does that make sense, Sam?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had a client who just closed a few months ago who I was helping for 2 years. I mean, some people would have not stuck with them. I mean, I just talked to somebody else the other day Amanda on your team is trying to get them pre-approved. They have $120,000 budget. They're first-time home buyers. No one in their families have ever purchased a home before. This is a big, huge change for their whole family. They're trying to create generational wealth for their children. And they've had 2 agents tell them that they don't deal with price points that low.
Oh, come on. Okay. That's interesting.
I feel like that's illegal.
I mean, they're just I can't help you. There aren't houses out there for that right now. Right. My first house was $92,000 that I bought. Right. And then we sold it for $150,000 and then moved out and bought a bigger house. Now, because I just got a pool, we're stuck here for a while. But, people are trying to do something. And how could somebody tell somebody that's a ton of money to somebody, to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Or at least at least have something set up where it's like, listen, like, I want to make sure you have the time allocated. I have someone on my team who's going to give you a call, right? Who can take care of that, right? I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with delegating things, whether it's a $500,000 deal or a $50,000 deal. If you're too busy, you're too busy. And I don't think there's anything wrong with admitting that to someone.
Yeah. But giving it away, like giving it to somebody else who can handle it, I think is important, or referring it off. But I think if you're, like Paul was saying, like if you're focused on the client, that's what ends up making you a good agent. At the end of the day, I tell my people, like, yes, of course I want them to buy a house with me, but I really want them to call me back in 3 years to sell their house. And I really want, every time someone talks about real estate, for them to bring my name up and tell people what a great job I did for them. And, I have a couple clients who at this point who've sent me over $1 million, way over $1 million worth of business from their friends and family, because they constantly are telling people I did a good job for them. That's free for them to send that to me. I didn't have, that just happens. But that doesn't happen to everyone. That doesn't happen to every agent.
It's interesting in our business, when we're talking about growing your business or how do you get your business, a lot of that, a lot of people buy leads, or you can buy leads or you can network, or you can do all this stuff. But ultimately, Sal, and I think you believe this also, and Brad, that just doing really high level work for your clients will translate into more business long-term. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's the long road. I mean, that's not going to be the instant success, right? Because you need to have clients, you need to build up a book to have more and more experiences for them to like start reciprocating back to you.
Yeah, but if over time you just do good work.
I think if you pour all your effort into working with people who want to work with you, right? And like Sam said, like really blowing that experience out of the water for them, like it keeps growing, right? They're talking to their agent, they're sitting at the closing table, whether you're there or not. Like, man, that was good. They were good, right? Like we really liked working with them. When people talk about you, things happen, right? Yeah. And they're not going to talk about you if you're not focused on that experience. So I don't know. It's weird too. Like, I talk to Sam all the time, and it's like, how did this happen? Right? Like, how all of a sudden is it like after just a few short years, like we're, things are going really well. And it's not, you don't think about that when you wake up and you just do your part. You're not thinking about the check. You're thinking about, shit, this needs to close Friday. Like It has to. Right. Otherwise it's going to cost my clients money, or they're going to do this, or they might not be able to, have their daughter's birthday party Sunday there that they wanted to. Right. So you make it happen for those moments, and not just, whatever, PA date's Monday, right. Sorry. Like it's the going above and beyond that I think really makes a difference that will just grow your business.
Yeah. And Sam, within 3 years, I mean, you've done a lot in the industry. That's pretty impressive, to say the least, to now be a co-founder of Motus. What is for you, what does Motus mean to you? What is the brand that it stands for?
So when we sat down and we're trying to think of a name, I mean, it's weird, right? Most real estate teams are run by one person. Yeah. Or they're run by a husband and wife. And I love the three guys that I'm in business with, but we aren't married. And well, you are business wise.
We
are business wise, yes, but we all got a significant other. So yeah. But we wanted a different way to do business. We wanted something where somebody could grow a business under our umbrella as big as they wanted. It's also really important to us that our people on our team are meeting their own goals, not goals that we set for them. So when somebody joins us, we sit down with them yearly and we talk about what their goals are financially, what they are for time. Like there's something to that time freedom. We have a couple on our team where dads that are, taking care of young children. How many vacations do they want to go on a year? How much, I've got some hard set parameters in my life. I will not miss bedtime more than 3 times a week for my kids, and 1/4 of every weekend is for my family. And I don't give that up. And so I do that same thing for the people on my team. And some of them, they want to be home every night for dinner. They're only willing to miss dinner once. So we wanted to create a situation where that was available. where people could do that, build the kind of business that they wanted, have leverage. You know, we have a social media person on our team that helps. We have, you know, contract to close help. So there's a lot of leverage there. And of course, like showing assistance on our team, that was really important. The other really important thing for us was that we were kind of faceless, that not one of us was ever going to be a star in our own right, that the power really was with the team, that we could support each other and, you know, celebrate each other's successes, and everyone could get their credit, because I don't always see that happening.
A lot of real estate teams, Sal and Brad, are like Jim Smith's team, or you know, the Pepperton team, whatever it is, and it's usually the one person's team, and you got, I don't know, I made that up.
Yeah.
So
the Peppertons.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's probably some guy listening to this podcast like, what are you talking shit about?
Yeah, some guys listen. Yeah, nobody's listening to the podcast, Sal. So, yeah, but you know, usually it's, you know, the team is the name of whoever, but you guys decided to do more agnostic, like the name Motus, where you know one person is like forefront, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get real geeky here for a second. I believe in like manifestation and dreaming big, and just like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go balls to the walls on it. And, you know, Nike didn't have someone's name on it.
Right.
Know? Apple. Yeah. Like, I'm not trying to build something small. I'm trying to build something huge. Right. So if you're trying to build something huge, you have to think that way from the beginning. So that's what we're doing. When we sit down and talk, like, we really think, you know, if somebody is listening in Utah and they like our branding and they like us and they think that we're valuable, like, you can use Motus out there. We'll figure something out. It can be everywhere. I mean, EXP is in Germany. It's in South America. I mean, it's everywhere. So like, I'm not just trying to dominate here in Metro Detroit. Like, when I say I'm literally trying to take over, it's like Pinky in the Brain. I don't dream small at all. Yeah. So that's just not on my radar.
Yeah, I think that we have some similarities like that, because when we started Omega, it was like, well, what are we going to call it? What are we going to do? Like, we want to be big. We want to own Metro Detroit. We want to expand. And it's kind of weird to do that if you're like, you know, Sal Kuzmano's lending. You know what I mean? Like, who knows?
Well,
Uncle Sal's mortgages.
I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to do it necessarily, right? Like, you've got, you know, Eddie Bauer, Ralph Lauren, whatever, right? Like, brands can be whatever they want to be, as long as everyone in that space supports it and believes in it and helps build the dream, right? So I think that's just important to Sam's point, right? Like, how do you build your culture? How do you sit down and talk to people and set the right expectations? You know, and even when you're talking about that, right? Like, to a client, like, if you're like, dude, I'm 24/7, and then they call you on a Sunday at 9, you can't be pissed, right? Yeah. Like, you got to set the right expectations. Like, no one complains when they try to call their bank at 8 p.m. and it's not open. They just say, oh, they're not open, right? So you have to set your own hours. You have to set your own expectations. You have to set your own tone that your clients, you know, your employees, whoever it is, right? They all are on the same page. And I think that there's no real limit to where that brand can go, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sam, what do you think is some of the ingredients of success for a good team?
I think you have to have really good open communication. I think that people, you know, the people that I brought onto Motus, I talk to them all the time. I seek feedback, and I seek tough feedback. Like, I want to know if I'm doing something wrong. I want to know if there's a place that I can get better, if I can lead better. If how I'm trying to motivate you is not the way that you're motivated, because I'm pretty straightforward and kind of a tough love kind of person. So if that's not working, I need to know. So, but I ask for that, and my ego is really low when it comes to taking that feedback. And I think, you know, if you're going to be a leader, you have to kind of make it a safe place for people to give you feedback, and to not get combative or to be like, well, they're wrong. Well,
feedback's everything.
Yeah,
feedback. You know, like, I'd rather get negative feedback than never hear from someone again.
Correct.
You know, which could happen easily. right? You have to be open to it. You can't be combative to it. You have to be like,
feedback is a gift.
Yeah.
It's a gift. Feedback is a gift. And if you look at it as a gift, like whether it's positive or negative, like somebody to take the time to give you feedback, whether it's harsh or positive, whatever it is, feedback is always a gift. Would you agree, Sam?
Yeah, I have a really good, like a mentor of mine from back in yearbook, because we used to have to give teenage kids feedback on these things that they had thought about for 6 months. It was like so close to their soul. And these, teenage girls would be crying and so upset. And I would always have to remind them, like, where did that feedback come from? That person wants you to get better. And it takes a lot for somebody to give that feedback, like they're being vulnerable. And if somebody's coming to me and telling me something, like I'm kind of their boss, right? Like I've put myself in that position. So if all of a sudden they tell me something and I get pissed about it, they're never going to tell it to me again. And I'm never I've just shut the door for not only them, but probably other people as well. Right. So yeah, I think feedback is so important, and to accept it with grace, I think is important. I also think part of Motus and a good ingredient of a team is, being able to collaborate on a lot of stuff, share ideas. And the nice thing with 4 founders is I don't have to be good at everything. I only have to be good at a quarter of it. And the other 3 can pick up those pieces that I'm not good at. So, when we did this, we all were good at different things. I'm hyper organized. I'm pretty good at social media. And I'm the hardcore communicator. Let's just talk it out. We've got, people on our team who are super good at back end stuff. And then other people that are great at running comps and more, answering broker type questions. And then we've got the social butterfly who can talk to anyone, so we all kind of fill a spot. And then we look for our blind spots to fill our teams. I see sometimes when people hire people exactly like themselves, but that doesn't do anything for my clients. I want somebody who's my opposite, so that if Ted the engineer doesn't like me, he can go work with someone else on my team who thinks like an engineer.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly hiring for those shortcomings of myself.
Yeah. So that's awesome. I mean, it's very similar to like us. Like we have 4 people that run run Omega. We're all good at different things for sure. That is a 100% fact. That is a 100% fact. And you can't, I don't think we would work, honestly, if we didn't have that. How important are your partners to you, your loan officer, the loan officers you work with, the title company, the appraisal? Like, how important is having the right team around you?
Oh my God, it's so important. I mean, Sal can attest to this. I call him all the time. And people on the team, you guys do a lot of my loans because I trust you. I mean, Sal, you guys did my refinance to get the pool, so I trust you guys to tell my clients the truth, and that is so important. And I also trust, I need to trust a lender to tell me the truth, because I can't properly set expectations for my clients if somebody isn't communicating with me. So I need to know, is this going to be difficult? Is this,
especially right now in this market where you might have to show someone 50 homes, 60, 100. That's a huge waste of time if someone doesn't qualify, right? So and we've had some sketchy ones too, where it's I don't know, man, we're going to roll the dice on this one, but it's not often that ever happens. But I think, communication and being able to communicate with your partners, whether or not I'm the best loan officer in the world or not, right? Someone has to get back to you. I have a lot of agents that send me deals and I'm like, hey dude, I need this addendum. I don't get it back, right? And it's they ask me to partner with them, I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go through that, right? So right. I think you got to jive with all that. And, same thing true with the title partner you choose, right? They've done a great job for us and, they're on it. So you have to choose wisely.
What's the difference between other than being honest, which is kind of crazy that is a prerequisite for you, Sam, but it is true in our business. Unfortunately, loan officers don't always tell the truth because they want to hide behind stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Other than that,
it's not necessarily that they're lying though. A lot of people they're
liars, Brad. They're all lying.
No, a lot of people will avoid the truth or avoid the conversation because they don't want to have to be put in a position where they have to either lie or tell the truth because it's uncomfortable. But
the truth sometimes
those moments make or break a lot of relationships and a lot of deals, because if someone's avoiding you, you know it, right? It doesn't feel good. But if someone just hits you in the face with the truth, even though it hurts, you appreciate it more than being drug out for weeks.
Yeah. I mean, I had one where somebody, like, they had forgotten to do something and I was calling them constantly. And instead of just answering the phone and being like, hey, my bad, I had a lot going on Tuesday. I didn't get it done, but it will be, I'll take care of it tomorrow and I'm going to make it right. That I could have dealt with, but they just skirted me for 3 days. And then me and my client are freaking out, where if they just answered the phone and had the tough conversation, like, as far as I'm concerned, we're on the same team. We're both trying to get it to the closing table for our client. If I'm in the know, if I'm in the loop, then I can also start playing defense, and maybe a little bit of offense on those deals to make sure we can hold it together. So yeah, communication, making sure that they answer the phone. And then the other part is like being able to talk to my clients. I think I run into so many clients who are really scared to talk to a lender. Like, I get on the phone and I'm like, hey, have you talked to a lender? No. Why not? Well, I mean, and they start giving me I had this student loan thing and then a credit. Like, right. They have seen it all. Like, it's fine. But if you don't talk to them, we can't figure out your starting point. Like, if you can't get approved right this second, they can tell us when you can get approved or give us an idea of what needs to happen in order to get you approved. But I need you to talk to them. And, my partners, the people that I send people to, are good at doing that. Like, hey, it's not going to work now. Or if you were able to do this, then we can get you approved for the amount that you want to be approved for. So when I'm looking for, lending partners or title partners, it's people that have really good bedside manner with my clients, with first-time home buyers, and somebody also, now that I run a team, that is going to be available to my team as well, and that's going to treat them well, and help educate them. One of my people on the team just had her first low appraisal. She's a listing agent, to deal with it. And it's like, I feel good because she had a low appraisal on a buy side and she called me. She already had it, kind of figured out because a lender had already kind of walked her through on the last transaction and educated her. My first dealing with a low appraisal was for another client who was gone on a cruise, and I was brand new. And Sal spent like an hour on the phone with me, walking me through that appraisal line by line, because we couldn't call that agent because she was in Europe somewhere on a boat. Yeah. And that agent, if I would have messed that up, I don't even know what she would have done to me when she came back. Like, she would have been so upset with me. So, like, those little things go a lot. Like, I won't forget that he did that, because he didn't have to do that for me.
Right.
It goes a long way.
Yeah, having the right team is really important. I think some agents and even loan officers poo-poo that a little bit too much. But like, it's important. So, Sam, tell me what you think of the market today. What is the state of today's market?
I think it's slowing down a little bit, but that's seasonally. I have actually a lot of buyers who were looking in the spring, who stopped because they were writing up against 50 other offers and we're getting really frustrated. Yeah. So they decided to travel. And I've seen that a lot of people, this was kind of their first, we've all been stuck in the house, right? Yeah. They were stuck homeschooling kids. So they decided to go travel this summer. And I see a lot of them coming back and they're starting to re-engage in their portals and do those things. But I think they're trying to get their last weekend in this weekend. I've talked to a few that are like, I'm going to, get back up and start looking in the fall. I think it's also price point dependent. It's a lot slower at higher price points right now. When you get over 5, things are sitting a little bit longer. Ranch condos, if anybody listening has a ranch condo they need me to sell, I've got 10 buyers for that. I've got tons of people that want to downsize because they don't want to take care of that house anymore, but they want a ranch condo, and those are hard to find in Oakland County, like nice ones, or Macomb or Shelby. So if you're out there, but I think it's slowing down. I'm not concerned about some big crazy, thing happening, like a
crash. You're not worried about a crash happening, Sam?
I'm not worried at all, because I think people have so much equity in their homes. Like, even if they, are in some kind of trouble financially, we can sell their house and get them money. Like,
yeah.
So I'm not worried at all about that. I think everyone would like it to level out. It would not be the worst thing in the world if houses sat on the market for 14 days.
No, that's normal.
Selling in 2 days. Yeah, like selling. And I've had to talk to sellers, if the house is sitting on the market for 14 days, 20 days. I'm like, at 25, let's talk. But right now, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like 50 offers on your house in 4 days, which happened in Sterling Heights this summer from one of my clients, is not normal. That's insane. 49 people didn't get that house. And I know those 49 people have all not found houses. So there's still buyers out there. I just think it'll slow down a little bit.
Well, and it's just like anything else, right? Like you sell and then you buy in that market too, right? So unless you already have a situation set up or whatever, hey, we're moving up to our cabin up north. Great, sell your house and get the 50 offers. But if you got to buy something, like, do you want to be competing in the same way, in the same fashion? I mean, it has to slow down and it has to have some equilibrium for us to sustain and keep going. It's funny, right now, yeah, I would say like there are some lower appraisals, right? And that's because it's just like, it's not as crazy, it's slowed down a little bit. Like you overlisted and people in their head, right? Even a lot of agents and sellers the market's still absolutely on fire, crazy nuts. And it's like, no, not really, man. Like you did an offer.
It feels like it's
15
taking
days on this, and you took ours. It was a little bit, lower, and it's just like to your point with the low appraisals. It's like it's not the end of the world. It's what the place is worth, probably, if it's a good appraisal.
Yeah.
So did you as an agent secure that deal for your seller, or did you have that conversation that, hey, we might have an issue, and
I went on a listing appointment in my neighborhood. I didn't get the listing because I didn't want to list it as high as they wanted it listed. They wanted to list it at $50,000 above. And I said, that would be awesome. I would love for that to happen because that helps my home value as well. But I just had an appraisal. And I'm looking at I can't justify that price. Like it's not going to appraise for that. I just can't make that work. And I would be doing you a disservice taking it, sitting it on the market, having people think that there's something wrong with it. It's still for sale.
It would be like the same thing as like someone saying, hey, I want to Quicken gave me a 350K appraisal. Well, I can only approve you for 300, man. Like the numbers don't really lie. Right. Well, I'm going to go with Quicken because they said I could get pre-approved for 350.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Math's math,
Yeah. Okay.
I can't pull the brand new $700,000 house to be a comp for your ranch that was built in 1983. I just can't. It doesn't make sense. So
but why not? It's on the same street. I don't understand. Why can't I use that one?
Exactly. Right. And so or Zillow said it. I'm like, that's fantastic that Zillow said it. Have they been in your house? Because the shag carpet is telling me a different story. So that, that's like, I like to go on appointments and be honest with people about what I think that they can sell their house for. Now, will I stretch a price a little bit if they want and they're willing to test the market? Yes, 100% all the time we can do that, but they have to be reasonable because otherwise their house is just going to sit. So that's, the conversation. Yeah. You sell your house or you just want to show it for 6 months?
4 out of 5 times you're right. And that's 4 out of 5 times that you avoid the tough conversations, looking like an idiot, right? Yeah, hey, maybe once in a while, I can only do 300, and then they close on a 350K home. They found somewhere with low taxes or got a gift or whatever it was that I didn't know that, hey, it worked out. But I didn't want to blow that relationship. I didn't want to have a bomb in my pipeline. Like I talk to a lot of these, newer, and I think that's important, right? As a leader, to talk to the people who trust you and look up to you, and as a leader or a teacher, like, hey man, do not let someone put a bomb in your pipeline, because it will blow it up and it will prevent other deals from flowing through because you'll spend all your time on that one. Hey, can I do this deal? They just filed bankruptcy last year.
No,
they did. I'm like, they're like, the guidelines say I can. I'm like, you can, if you want to write no more deals for the next 30 days, you'll be spending all your time on it, and I think that's important. Not that we don't want to help people, but find someone who specializes in that, right? Find someone who has the time or whatever to show $60,000 homes in Detroit, if that's not your avenue, and feel proud knowing that, hey, this person will give you the service and the time that you deserve.
I think when you're starting out, though, like when I started, I would take anything and everything. So I took on a client who had like 25 pieces of vacant land in the city of Detroit. Like I was going to make not a ton of money on that, but I learned more doing those 25 vacant land deals than I've learned doing a lot of things between title work, it was speed, getting it done. But that was really helpful. I think if somebody's new though, and you have the time, you should, not shy away from like those tasks,
tougher deals.
To do, because I mean, they're great clients of mine now.
Yeah. Well, I guess in the loan world, it's a little,
it's a little different. Yeah, it's
right?
a little different. We don't want our new guys stuck working on deals that aren't going to close and give them a bad reputation, right? That's the biggest thing.
But yeah, don't just shy away because someone's got an FHA loan.
No,
right?
No. If it's a little extra work, do the work.
The only way I learned was by failure, and I probably burnt some bridges along the way. But had I known or been able to talk to someone, I might have learned that way too. It's different when you're all on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Sam, what do you see as being a new, like in our area here in Metro Detroit, what are some areas that you see that have good, that are good investments in your opinion?
I mean, it's so hard because I feel like the market is still pretty high right now. So
like you make money on any house right now. I mean, we're year over year, we're the most appreciation we've ever seen.
So I think, if I was somebody, I would, when my husband and I talk about where we'd want to invest and things like that, we always think about the kind of rent. If we're thinking about a rental or we're thinking about something like that, we always think about the client first. So like, who do I want as a renter is where I would start. Because if I start and I kind of reverse engineer it backwards, if I think like I'd want somebody that's a long-term renter that's going to be there for a couple of years, that's going to take, that I think might take care of I want all of these things. So like, where would those people be looking? If I can reverse engineer it that way and create the product that I want those people to buy, then, I think you're better off. Does that make sense? You cannot sell to anybody or rent, but the point is if you create a product that they want, then those are the type of people that will come at the price point that you want. So I think starting backwards and then, you could buy anywhere depending on who you want to be your tenants, right? Like if you're somebody who's like, I think it'd be cool to have, a single person or then you're gonna buy something smaller, a 1-bedroom, maybe 2-bedroom condo that doesn't have a yard that they need to take care of, things like that. If you're like, I'd be cool with something bigger where I can charge more, maybe that's a long-term tenant that's relocation or like somebody that's coming, like we have a lot of those out in Rochester and Troy, where people are, coming here for a few years from out of the country and renting and working for the big three or things like that up in Rochester for Chrysler. And
that's a different way of looking at it is thinking about the client first of who you want and then kind of retrofitting the property to that person. That's interesting, Sam. That's a different way of looking at it than I've heard.
Yeah. That's how I would do.
Is there anywhere in the metro area that you would stay away from as far as like investing?
I mean, I personally think that some of the places in the corridor are it's really expensive. In
the Woodward corridor, you mean?
Yeah. Like Ferndale, that was where my first house was in Ferndale, and I bought it for $92. That would have been 10 years ago. Now, if I was to go turn around and sell it, it'd be $175 or more.
Wow.
So that's a lot of appreciation. So that's, I feel like probably going to start flatlining a little bit.
Right.
I'd probably go a little bit further out, or I'd look at, places that are close to downtown that are close to all of the action now as that starts to happen.
Right.
With people getting to work from home and people not having to sometimes go into offices as much, people want more space. A lot of people are looking at entertaining at home. They're at home more. So they want, I've got a lot of people who maybe one person was working from home and now 2 people are working from home and they're renting and they both need to be on Zoom calls all day. So that doesn't work because, Molly's working at the table and Dan's in the bedroom and they don't have a place to decompress or anything at the end of the day. So
yeah, this work from home thing really has changed the dynamic of what homes mean. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, like Lake Orion stuff, like out there, places out there. I think if you can get something that has, I see a lot of people out the Stony Creek Metro Park, like places like that. That's where I think a lot of my clients are looking because they want to be close to be able to do those things.
Right.
And close to 75 to either get up or down.
Right. It's also how far away, because the Metro Detroit area is pretty large, and to get from one place to another sometimes can take a long time. All right. We're going to go into 3 questions, Sam. This is where we ask 3 random questions that we haven't thought of previously, and we do it live, and then we get your answer. So first question that I usually ask is, what scares Samantha Hillery?
I would say like being a failure. I don't want to fail. I've got 2 little girls that look up to me. So that's the thing that I can't fail.
Yeah. Yeah. Failure is something that scares the shit out of me too. Although failure is necessary for success. So it's like you almost have to fail to be successful. So it's a double-edged sword. I hate failing. I'm terrified of it. But at the same time, every time I like mess up or have a failure, it's such a learning lesson to build off of.
I just fail fast and then pivot.
Yeah.
Is my mantra. Like if I'm going to fail, make sure it's quick and then figure it out and move on.
You mean you don't wallow in your misery after you fail?
No, I just do a little dance party in my office, gangster rap, and then I'm pretty good.
That's awesome.
I think a lot of people, is failure even a thing? Can you fail at something, right? Or can you like move on from it? I mean, I guess people who like fail just stop at that point, right? And that's
failure. I think that's failure. That's failure. If you fail and
but the mindset's like, you can't really fail. Like the only way you're like, I think a lot of people all the time are like, man, like if this happens, it's over. And it's like, is it?
Correct.
Like we're just like human organisms on this planet, like moving around. Like, what's a mortgage in the grand scheme of it all, right? Like, is that failure? I'm still alive,
Yeah.
That's getting a little,
Death is the only failure.
That's like campfire up north talk, but
we should delve into this, Sal, next time we're on a campfire up north. Yeah, I think that's a good call. Next, you guys got a question, or you want me to just handle it? You guys got anything?
Go for it.
If you could be anywhere, like if you could be a fly on the wall at any moment in time in history, right? Like witness it from like a third, like out of body view. What would that moment in history be?
I would love to be a fly on the wall when Ruth Bader Ginsburg was arguing for women's equality, like for women to be treated equally in the eyes of the law at the Supreme Court.
That'd be interesting. I wonder how you think she got into them, like harsh.
I don't know. I have so much like respect for her, and like she's just, I don't know. I just would have loved to see at that moment, like such a tiny little person arguing such a monumental thing.
Mm-hmm. If you could, okay, here's the last question. If you had a magic wand and you could wave it and change something in your industry, what would it be and why?
Oh gosh.
Just one thing, not a bunch.
Yeah, I think if I could do that, I would get rid of all the naysayers. Like the people that are in real estate that aren't really doing much, but that really have strong opinions. It's like they should get busy doing something and stop, heckling the rest of us. So I'd get rid of them.
They heckle you? That's awesome.
The Karens of real estate?
Yeah.
The Karens of real estate. Not really doing much, but always have an opinion, right?
Yep.
Yes.
I think that's true for anybody, just in life in general. A lot of people like to be negative, and I'm not down with the negativity. And a lot of people like to, shit on people's parade just for the fact of shitting on people's parade. They should get shit out.
It's funny, right? Like low appraisal or something, listing agent calls you, this is crazy, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, like relist it then. You've got all these buyers and all, you got to like do what you got to do, man. But really all you're doing is blowing hot air.
Right.
Like, right. And obviously, lots of other people in the business, but doers do, right?
Doers do. Yeah. Samantha, anything you want to leave the audience with before we let you go?
No, I mean, if somebody is thinking about jumping into real estate or thinking about doing like a big career change, mine happened in my 30s. You should just go and do it. Like, don't be scared.
Don't be scared. You've done a great job, Sam. Why don't you tell the audience how they can get a hold of you?
You can check us out at www.motusre.com, or you can email me at Samantha@Motus, MOTUSRE.com. That'd be the easiest ways.
That's awesome, Sam. Sam, thank you for doing the show. We really appreciate your partnership. Obviously, we're going to continue that, and we'll have you back on soon.
All right. Thank you.
Be good, Samantha. Yeah, Sam is awesome. I called her Hillary like 3 times, but that's okay.
It's like, man.
I don't know why. I don't know why I kept doing that. It was like stuck in my head. Like,
but
no,
it's good to work with good people, and I think it's fun when we get to work with a team that's a lot like ours, right?
Very similar. Yeah.
Yep.
So
similar.
What do you think? I think, kind of to the point at the very beginning of this conversation, I don't think we're headed towards like a waterfall of anything, right? Like,
no.
As far as values go, I think the stock market's kind of sustained itself with this money.
Listen, I mean, there's going to be tapering that the Fed does. That's going to raise interest rate. I mean, rates are going to go up a little bit. That's it. But, we'll see what happens. But that's our show. For everybody that's been listening, thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. Find us at irepodcast.com. But for that, we are gone. That's it. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Inside Real Estate, the nation's top real estate podcast. Don't forget to follow us at irepodcast.com and everywhere where podcasts are available.